have a platform that they're trying to really instill their beliefs to others on. I think that's a little bit different if people who are listening to are saying as a singer or something like that, like, no, that's totally wrong. We don't want you out there publicizing that thought, whether it's political or some moral point of view or whatever, because everyone's wanting, maybe some people are wanting to say that, no, that's wrong. We don't want you changing our culture. I think that's different than if someone's just a CEO of a company and they had no wrong intent and they're not trying to push their personal beliefs off on everyone. I just feel that that's kind of different scenario. And what do you think about that?
I think that you said that point better than I was trying to, in terms of like the scope of influence,
I don't see a difference. I'm saying, you know what? Because I understand what you're saying about celebrityism and how they have, well, we perceive as bigger platforms, which they do, right? They do impact a lot of people. But even if it's Sally that works at the grocery store, if someone saw something or thought they saw something and then they start this mob mentality, to me that's just as bad. Like, it's just as bad, because Sally can lose her, like, that's somebody that I know from like Kroger, right? That I see her lose her job and now she doesn't have a livelihood because somebody thought that what she said was bad, or really they may not have even understood it or kind of ran with it. You know what I'm saying? I understand celebrities are celebrities. Things happen and I get it. But I'm saying everyday people are just as impacted by this mob mentality every day. I mean, it really happens where people are losing their jobs and, so yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't want to ramble on.
Do you think that people should be held to different standards based on their job or their status?
What is the standard? What's your definition for standard there?
Just like, okay. If you are a celebrity or a police officer or a lawyer or something, or someone in politics, and you were to get in a drunk driving accident, it would be publicized. It'd be all over the news. Everybody would know. I was. No one would know. They wouldn't care. I'd be a little blurb in the bottom of the newspaper. Do you think that's fair?
I think
For the same exact
That people are held to different standards.
maybe this is a way around it. I'm not trying to do that, but if you occupy a role, which most of us do, I think you're responsible for your role as an individual in the way that we are all individuals, while simultaneously embodying the values that you've sort of adopted. You're living the creed of the role that you've taken. So the hypocrisy there would be quite terrible. If you're living in exact discord with the values that you're perpetuating. People don't like that. They want order. They don't want chaos. And if things are in conflict or hypocritical, human beings don't like that at all, because they can't put their head around it.
Yeah,
Wait.
go ahead, Christian.
When I was at Dow Corning and Dow, and I had management positions, I recognized that my words had consequences to more than just myself. So, yes, I took responsibility for that. Should the consequences be bigger? Yes, because of the roles I had. So I had to be aware of that at all times. Once you retire, you're free. I work for myself now.
I agree. I totally agree. I think if you're a judge, if you work with kids, there are certain standards that we expect of you for those roles. Well, yes, I get it. I mean, it's just a person. It's just a person. But yes, you put it on your role. I believe there's certain things, kind of got to toe the line on certain things. And sometimes it's the things you said.
And if I'm selling houses, I want everyone to like me.
So that being said, do you think that's why cancel culture more heavily affects people in those positions, people that are famous, like, because they're held to such a higher standard?
I'll say, I've had a few phone calls about running for certain positions, and sometimes I like Brandon the realtor, not Brandon the politician, because if Brandon the realtor does X, Y, and Z, it is what it is. Maybe, you know, I'll sell a house or two, you decide that you may not want to work with me, but as a whole,
Other people might want to work. You've got your brand. You're still managing your
there's an
brand.
inch, right?
Still managing your brand,
Absolutely.
and you choose peace.
Yes. No, I think that's a real thing. I mean, especially if someone is, like clergymen, police officers, judges, that preach. I mean, they literally preach a certain type of narrative. So yeah, I think people naturally want them to live up to that, and people get upset when they don't. We really hold people very high for some reason, and we expect a lot out of certain people. And when they don't do what we want them to do, or we feel like they failed us, then yeah, they do have higher consequences because that. Yeah, I think so. Any other questions? Oh, we go.
Good afternoon. Took some notes, or else I'm gonna ramble. So I think that the educational piece of cancel culture is a really important topic to bring up as well. I think there's education coming at it from a lot of different angles. I believe that people have been oppressed and not respected for a really long time. And I kind of feel that canceling people to a certain extent helps bring these issues to the forefront without keep getting swept under the rug when they happen. And to the sense of education, of things being missed, whether it's in the community you live in. For example, the Polish comment earlier, if you didn't live in that community and you didn't grow up around Polish people, you might not know that. Or even like your own parents and getting raised in a certain light. You might not get all of the information in certain ways. So some may join with the side without question, and that's really easy to do online. But I do think that it brings, for many, it sparks that conversation that we had in any sort of light, whether it's a respect issue, or even if it's the person sending comments to women going into the gym. I wouldn't have thought about that until you brought it up, and I have my own opinion on it, but now I've thought about it. And I think the educational aspect of that as well is really important.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
It's great.
Okay, I had one final comment, question for you all.
Wait.
Oh.
You've been here for a while.
I'm curious if any of you guys have felt pressured to censor yourself from being canceled. Now, this cancellation may not be on social media platforms, so maybe it's being canceled from rejected by a friend or a family member or people not doing business with you. If you do feel that pressure of censoring yourself, how do you balance compromising your censorship with still being authentic to who you are and what you believe in? And then if you don't feel pressured to censor yourself, how do you find that confidence and stability within yourself to just truly be who you are?
That's a really good question. I don't know, how old are you? Because that's really smart. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna add something to that. I am a very outgoing, very in-your-face person, and not everybody likes that, right? Not everybody appreciates that. So I think it's very hard to toe the line between being my authentic self and also having like a public life. And to that, I would say, you know, think about what you put out in the public, right? And think about who you could hurt, who could be affected by this later. And I'm not really answering the question, but I'm saying that, yes, I see you, it's hard. I try to be as authentic as possible, and it didn't always work out for me. And so you have to protect yourself as well. You know, you have to protect your mental health and your well-being. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, authenticity is like, I have to be myself. I literally, like, my body cannot be anything else, right? I feel like, you know, when I go into life every day, I go into it with the expectation that there's going to be somebody that's going to love me, somebody that may not so much. And what can you do about that, right? I mean, it's just kind of the world we live in. And so I'd rather just be myself. And I believe that whoever kind of will align will find me and go for it. Yeah.
Well, I think you might be able to reverse that idea in how to censor yourself to not, it's a Carl Jung quote, to don't practice what you don't wish to become, or don't say or do things that make you weak. So you could censor yourself that way. Say, I'm not going to censor myself by making myself say or do things that I think from my own definition and my own standards are telling me that that's not true of my authenticity, rather than thinking about what you will do, think about what you won't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, I mean, everywhere you go, everything you do, everything's situational. So do you intentionally censor yourself at times? Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to a family member who's on the other side and is uncomfortable and you don't want to make it uncomfortable, do you talk about football or something else? Yeah. Sure. I mean, it's all situational. I mean, for people who are in sales, you also learn that you can shape shift for a short amount of time in any situation. You can't do it forever, because ultimately we all come back to our authentic
It
self.
comes out eventually. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can do it situationally, and most people, to be civil and to manage their lives, practice that to get along, to get things done, to work with people.
And that's not being true to yourself, right? It's called respect, empathy, compassion, being smart, right? Being aware of yourself and also the other person. If I know going into this situation, this person always gets upset because I say, or if somebody brings up X, Y, Z, then what? I'm not gonna bring it up. Like we don't have to fight today. We can, choose peace.
I'm a multiple Brandon type person. So there's Brandon, there's B. Lewis, there's B, and there's the Dapper Agent. These are four totally different people. For a business side, yes, clients, you make it, but hey, how you doing? That's not the same Brandon that's going to pick up the phone when it's someone else. So yes, you have to deal with it. I also think there's a race factor in it in the city that I live in. There's a way that you could or should maneuver, depending on what it is that you want to do. So yes, I have those days where I go, I probably shouldn't tweet that. I said that to the group chat. That's the laughing joke over here. Or there's a Twitter account out there that does not have my name on it, where I get to,
Secret like that.
I don't see that as being disingenuous just because I think all of us, if you go into a boardroom, right, if I'm going to sit down with somebody about a proposal about something work related, of course I'm going to be a little bit different than if I'm sitting with my girlfriends, eating chicken wings or something, right? We may talk differently, but I'm still being myself, right? I think it's when you just totally abandon who you are to be around people, that's not cool. That's not healthy. We're going to take one more. We have time for maybe two more questions, maybe at least one. And then I see you up front. We're going to get to you next.
What a great conversation, and what a poignant time to have it. I want to speak directly to that poignant time and us ushering in another resident through a smooth transition. And I just heard some speakers talk about how we have expectations about our politicians and hopes and dreams about our politicians to be able to cross the aisle and to be able to work together, like you said. And I think that we also need to remember the opportunities that we have that we can cross the aisle. If we feel safe, if we feel
that we can be open, maybe do it with open ears, an open heart, an open mind, because this is another member of my species, right? And we're trying to figure out how to save our planet for our kids. And we're trying to figure out how to support all these changes that are just coming fast and furious. We're all trying to do it. I hope that I can sit down, sorry. And thank you for giving us the chance to hear your perspectives and to sit down together, for being the brave people that come up and do it and make yourself vulnerable in this way. It's what we need to do. I believe in this.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And then this young lady up here had her hand up. And then
So just going back to the beginning of talking about the conversation between R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and throwing the baby out with the bathwater and that kind of narrative, typically who we're canceling has a voice and has power, and who they harm does not have a voice and does not have power. So if we are saying, well, Bill Cosby is beloved, or Harvey Weinstein, I love his movies, or R. Kelly, I love his music, I have so many good memories. What is the message that we're sending not only to their victims, but also those who have been impacted in a similar way? And also, what is the message that we're providing to young, impressionable children that will say, oh, he can do that, he can say that, and he can become famous, he can continue to run for office, he can continue, she can continue, they can continue. What is the message that we are sending to the world as a whole?
yeah. I personally think two things can be true at the same time. I think that you can have good memories from something and also hold somebody accountable. I don't think, for me personally, saying that I grew up on Bill Cosby and having good memories of watching that with my family, my cousins, like we all sitting around, watching it. I don't have to remove that from my life and say those weren't good memories anymore. They're still good memories for me, but I also can hold that person accountable. And so I think that goes back to what I said at the beginning. I think that in today's society, I feel like we have such extremism where it's like we can't even acknowledge anything that happened like that happened. Like that happened to me. I really did grow up with Bill Cosby and some great memories, surrounded by family. And was it hurtful to hear the stuff that happened? Of course it was. Was it disgusting? Of course it was. Do I feel like he should be held accountable for what, or anybody does if they do something, especially to vulnerable people? Of course. And I also feel like, wow, I have some good memories. You know what I mean? And that's not discounting what the person did for me personally. I guess that's my thought on it. And I hear what you're saying about what is the message. I think that if you say I have good memories, so I don't care what he did to them, that's different in my opinion, right? But saying, man, I remember, it was a scene I'll never forget that Bill Cosby, when he had a child, he was doing Rudy and all the friends on the knee, and they were bouncing around, and they're like, my uncle did it to me. It was like a big thing, and it became a really good, fun thing, and then we started doing it in our family. That was a good memory for me. That was him as an actor, and then when I found out about different things he did as a person, it was totally different. So thank you for asking that.
It's a hard conversation in our house. With my older son, it's a conversation that we do have. Yes, he did some things, ridiculous things, and he should be held accountable. I think there's this other side, kind of like what you said, it's the TV show, I guess we'll say. And no, we don't talk about everything. I love the Cosby Show. Ghost Dad was a horrible movie. And he should be paid for that. That was horrible. But yeah, no, it's a hard 50-50 conversation of, do you throw out all the money that he gave to HBCUs, all of these other things that he entailed, but come to find out he was a disgusting, horrible man. Once again, that ends up being a house that now I don't have other kids over and like, everybody, let's watch the Cosby Show.
Exactly.
Our house.
So, yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I think that's a good question. Anybody else want to add something? We have to start wrapping up. I'm sorry.
I just come back, humans are wildly complicated and
Yeah.
whether, on something like that, can you watch the Cosby Show and see the good in it? Yes. Should they be punished? Yes. So there are definitely egregious issues that the law takes care of. We found things to be so egregious that we have a law, right? So we put people in jail and we hold them accountable, and we have to do that. We have to want that as society. I think a lot of the things we're talking about today, though, are opinions or quick cancellations of people, and those are cultural things, and those are maybe a popular opinion of the time. They may be wrong. I mean, you brought up political folks that should be punished. The odd thing is, we all want to have a say in everybody's, but we only elect our representatives. So you got to hope the people in New Jersey or Texas or wherever are holding their people accountable. Of course, the odd thing is we think they all stink, and then we elect our people overwhelmingly again and again and again and again. So, it's on all of us. It's on us as much as it's on them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. We have to wrap up. This is always a hard part for me because this is when it really starts to, get good. And I appreciate all our panelists up here against the table. I appreciate everyone that made comments, asked questions. They were great questions and really thought-provoking, right? I mean, I would love to kind of go down this rabbit hole, so to speak, about this conversation, but we only have limited time. So I'm going to end with our any questions that we can ask ourselves. As we conclude our conversation on cancel culture, it's important to remember that this is a complex and evolving issue. On the one hand, can it be a tool for justice and accountability, offering a voice for those harmed or silenced? Can it raise concerns about fairness, due process, and the potential for overreach? In a society that seems to value accountability and compassion, could our goal be to find a balance in acknowledging the harm caused by toxic behavior while allowing for growth, redemption, and meaningful dialogue? Could we strive for a culture that holds individuals accountable without closing the door on change or understanding? Ultimately, cancel culture challenges us to reflect on how we engage with each other, how we hold power to account, and how we can create a society where people are both responsible for their actions and capable of learning from their mistakes. As we move forward, let's remember that progress is not always linear, and sometimes the most powerful change comes from listening, engaging, and being open to possibility of transformation. So the reflection is, consider a time when you made a mistake, whether public or private, and the response you received. How did it make you feel? How would you have wanted others to approach that situation with you? Consider how those experiences might shape how we approach accountability and growth for others and ourselves. Mr. Holman, thank you.
Actually, it's me.
Oh,
Jazz, Aaron, we just want to give back to you because you always give it to
my
others.
goodness.
As a team, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for believing in us.
Oh,
And thank you for allowing us to be a part of this family. We love you so much.
my goodness. Goodness. Oh, I'm all emotional. Thank you.
Well, this is a thought-provoking night.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good comments, as usual. I think one person in the audience really summed it up for me about just a good time to have this conversation, and just continue to have these types of conversations, right? So we just want to just leave it in this room. We want to take it out with us, right? This is the last of the Who We Are series. It's the final one, but there's more to come. Earlier, I asked that you take your phones out and follow on Facebook or follow on Instagram. If you didn't do it then, this is a good time to do so you can be up to date on what's coming up next. This was the final for this one, but there's other things to come, okay? So be aware and be on the lookout for those things when they do come up. And we also want to thank our partners. Our partners such as the Midland Area Community Foundation, Memorial Presbyterian Church, the Midland Area Cultural Awareness Coalition, and the Dow Credit Union. And then there's this facility that we have here. as well. This is a nice facility that has us in here periodically, and it's a nice place to just do the show. It looks very nice. Yeah. And you, our audience, thank you very much for one coming out and just sharing with us. Give yourself a hand for coming out and closing that. And also, as someone in the audience said about the panelists being here tonight, opening up about some of the personal views that you have. Really do appreciate those. Brandon, Jason, Harry, Eloise,
I don't.
Jason, and Christian. Thank you all very much for that. And now, lastly, I want to ask you to really, also, our team members. We have seen people around here that walk around doing things. We just want to thank the team for all the work that they do. You saw the ones working out, but also there's people behind this curtain doing magical things like the Wizard of Oz, I heard say. The fact that you thank the team very much for all that you do as well. And now, please get home safely.
Yes.
Take time, make sure you get home. Good night, thank you.
Oh, and wait a minute, really quick. Thank you to the MC. Thank you so much for all you do. We appreciate it. And I want to just say really quickly, I'm gonna let y'all go. We put on 11 events this year, and our team did a phenomenal job. I am just so proud and just so thankful for them. They did such a great job. The people that, make sure you get in okay. We've had some of our guys, help people out to their car when it rains, and just, making sure like you feel like at home. So I really appreciate you all so much. And we are going to a celebratory dinner to celebrate ending 2 series this year. So usually I like for you guys to stay a long time and talk and linger, but tonight we're going to leave so we can go have dinner and celebrate this beautiful year that we've had together with our 11 show. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. Have a great night.
Thank you.